but actually it's the right decision because there are better players for those positions in better form.
Yeah, agreed.
So he's not frightened to make the decisions, whereas some managers, for some teams, will play certain players because of their reputation and because of who they are. Chris Davies is looking at who have I got available, what's the best team against this team, and he's picking them. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. Now, at the time of recording, Birmingham City have 12 games left in the EFL League One, sitting 11 points clear at the top of the division. So we're really at the business end of the season now, and the games are still coming thick and fast. On the back of a fantastic 1-0 home victory over Lincoln, Birmingham City on Tuesday take on Stevenage at home. Now, we've already played Stevenage once in the EFL Trophy, but this will be the first time we've played them in the league. And in this podcast, myself and Matt, as always, are going to preview the game, give our thoughts on Stevenage, and maybe a little bit about what we think the Blues lineup will be. So Stevenage coming to town on Tuesday night at St.Andrews. Matt, what's your thoughts?
I think this is going to be Lincoln 2.0, Dad. I think this is going to require patience. I think it's going to be low scoring because we know I've got a lot of respect for Stevenage, Dad. They're very compact, they're very good at the back. They put defence first. They're very good at keeping the ball out the net.
Yeah.
Their problems have been scoring goals, but they have had patches in the season where they do get purple patches. They do score a lot of goals and then they go off the boil again. I think they've struggled with that consistency scoring goals, and their league position proves it. They're back in 12th. I mean, that's the second time in a row, Dad, we're playing the team in 12th because Lincoln were 12th. And then with this weekend's fixtures, Stevenage are now put into 12th. So I think this is going to be a game exactly like Chris Davies calls it, pounding the rock. I think we're going to have to tire them out over the course of the game. And as I said, I can see a very low-scoring game here, Dad. But, I mean, what I find staggering is, how's this our first league pre-match Stevenage? I know we played them in the EFL Trophy, but the season winds down in a few months.
I know. It's weird, isn't it? It's because, as you know, it's an international break and it's just schedule, isn't it, as well? Just a bit of context on Stevenage, they're now, you would classify them as an established League One team. They came up a few seasons ago from the National League and established themselves in League Two, and now they're doing that in League One. But if you look at their results this season in League One, you can see why they're 12th. I mean, they've beaten Wrexham home and away. They've beaten Stockport at home. They've beaten Charlton at home. And then, they've got draws against Reading and Leyton Orient. So they've got good, results against teams up in the top half of the table.
Beat Barnsley as well.
Yes, they've Barnsley. They've beaten home and away.
Yeah,
they've beaten 3-0 at home and 1-0 away. So
good teams,
not to be underestimated. And we saw in the EFL Trophy, it's hard to gauge that because we had a changed team, and I'm suspecting that they did as well. But we only sort of narrowly beat them 1-0, as we do with most teams, to be fair, don't we? But to reiterate what you're saying, Matt, which I think is really important. Let me just give you a bit of some stats on Stevenage. Okay, they're not in great form at the moment. They're sort of 2/3 down the form table. That's based upon last 8 games. Their home record, they're about mid-table, and their away record, they're in a similar position, just a few places below. So they tend to pick up the same amount of points home and away. They've got 28. Well, maybe a few more at home. 28 at home, 20 away this season. But this is what you said, which is crucial, is that they're the second lowest scorers in the whole division. They've scored 33 goals. The only team below them, who are the lowest, is Wigan with 32 goals. The likes of Shrewsbury, Cambridge, Northampton, Burton are all above them in terms of goals scored. But they counter that because they've got a good defence. So they are 2-4-6. They're the 8th best defence in the league. And they've only conceded 35 goals in their 35 games. So they don't concede many, which I think really hits home the point that you were talking about that they'll be a tough nut to crack. Their current form is that they've won 4, drawn 2 and lost 4 of the last 10, where we won 7, drawn 2 and lost 1.
Everything you've described, Dad, describes a team sitting in 12th, doesn't it? It kind of hits the markers for all those sort
like
of average.
Lincoln, when we did the Lincoln previews, it's very similar stats, weren't it? In terms of, apart from their defence and their in terms of goal score was different.
But how this, to me, that epitomises a mid-table team. Like, you've hit the nail on the head. They've done the double over Wrexham and Barnsley. They've beat Stockport. They've beat Charlton, right? But some disappointing results. They've drew with Mansfield. They've lost to Burton, lost to Crawley, lost to Cambridge, and lost to Peterborough. So they've taken some really big scalps, but they've lost some games which you'd expect off the back of those forms and those results. You'd expect them to win. So again, that screams mid-table when you're kind of a little bit all over the place with your consistency this season, and that's kind of what it comes back to a little bit earlier. It's consistency. They do have times where they score quite a few goals, then they come off the boil. They have times when they have really good results, and then they get a really random one. It's that kind of sporadic randomness. I don't know whether they kind of have bouts of having players injured and suspended, or whether they're just an inconsistent team this season. I don't know, but Steve Evans was managing last season, wasn't he? I think he got them just outside the playoffs. He did a very good job. And I said this in the other pre-match we did for the Stevenage and the EFL Trophy. Steve Evans was very direct, long balls, set pieces. That was his style at Stevenage. And then with their new manager, Alex Revel, he's kind of tried to make them a little bit more progressive, a little bit more on the ball, a little bit more possession-based, trying to...
They looked okay against us in the EFL Trophy. When they did get the ball, they were pretty good on the ball.
Stevenage deserve our full respect.
Yeah.
They're not a bad team. As you said, they're an established League One team now. They're coming into this off the back of a 1-1 draw with Mansfield. I think they'll see that as a disappointing result, because when you look at Mansfield's recent form, I think Stevenage should be beating Mansfield if they want to move from 12th into somewhere higher up.
Mansfield are in terrible form. In fact, I think Mansfield are at rock bottom of the form table. They've got 4 points from the last 8 games, including that point. I agree. I totally agree with what you just said there. They drew with Mansfield. I think Mansfield equalised late as well.
Did they?
I think so. So it was 1-1. That was Stevenage at home. They narrowly beat Cambridge in the game before. Then prior to that, they lost at home to Huddersfield, which is not a great result either at the moment with Huddersfield. I think that's Huddersfield's only win in the last 5 or 6 games. Then they beat Shrewsbury away 1-0 before that. And before that, they lost at home to Burton. Like you said, they drew to Peterborough. Then they lost away at Crawley. And away at Charlton. So, there's inconsistency. I think it's unpredictability that's the thing that you have to watch with these, because they've got the capability of hurting you, but they've also got the capability of shooting themselves in the foot as well. So you don't know what you're going to get. As like Chris Davis has said for our team, Matt, we need to be on the ball for every single team, no matter who they are. Yeah. And I think, like you said, this is going to be another frustrating. Trying to break the wall down again.
But Dad, is there a pattern of them doing well against good teams? You mentioned Wrexham, Barnsley, Stockport, Charlton. These are the teams in the top half of the table which they've won. They must have something in the can to step it up when they play the bigger teams. Yeah. And they did okay against us in the EFL Trophy. They had a couple of chances actually, and they're not a bad side, Stevenage.
And like Lincoln, you are right. We're talking about the same type of things we spoke about when we were playing Lincoln. Stevenage are in mid-table. They ain't going to get relegated. They're highly unlikely to make the playoffs. So they got literally nothing to lose. This is a free hit. They're coming to the home of the league leaders, and literally they can just give it all because they've got nothing to lose.
And this is why I was disappointed with the Lincoln game, Dad. You've got nothing to lose, so why are you parking the bus? Why are you doing the low block? To me, that's completely pointless, because it's a free hit. Even if no one wants to lose a game 3, 4, 5, whatever it might be, and that could be a risk against Blues if you come at us, because it does open up gaps for us to exploit, don't it? And we've done pretty well against teams that come at us a little bit more aggressively. But I think they'll be compact. I don't think they'll be as defensive as Lincoln, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong. I don't watch much of Stevenage football, I must admit. Pop on the highlights now and again if it's been an interesting result. But I think they'll be similar in terms of compact defence first, but they're not going to put 11 men behind the ball, in my opinion.
We will get a lot of possession in this.
We will get a lot of possession.
But they have got a good defensive record, so they don't concede many goals. So that tells you we're going to have a tough time. A couple of strengths for them as well. They're good if they get in the lead. They're very strong at protecting the lead. So if they put their noses in front, they're really good at protecting a lead. They've got players that they've got some tricky little players. I can't remember them. We'll have a look at their names in a minute actually. But they can create goals from individual skill. They're good at getting the ball off the opposition, so their press is good as well. It was good against when we played them in the EFL Trophy. They're good at defending set pieces, and they're good at aerial duels. So they've got a few tall players in there. A few weaknesses as well. Finishing scoring chances. That's obvious because they've scored the second lowest goals in the whole division. Avoiding offside and keeping possession of the ball. So a bit of strengths, and weaknesses. Just a quick thing on the style of play. They control the game. They like to control the game in the opposition's half. That's not going to happen in this game. No, they will not do that in St.Andrews. No. They like attacking down the right. That's their preference.
I've got that as well.
Yeah, and they like putting long balls in as well. So I think our defenders are going to have a lot of aerial threats to contend with as well. And where they can, they'll take long shots as well. And they can be quite aggressive in their play. So clearly a unit of trying to sort of make the most of what they got.
Yeah. As my wife gave you access to my notes. that is literally exactly what I've got. Dad, I've got right side dominant, long balls, long shots, set pieces, and difficult to break down. That is the biggest attributes and positives to Stevenage game. Again, we're not Stevenage fans. If you are and you're tuning in, please feel free to either clarify that or let us know. otherwise. But as I say, Dad, they are compact. They are going to be difficult to break down, and that's why I said deliberately in my intro, it's going to be Lincoln 2.0. Let's not panic if we get to 60 minutes and we haven't scored yet. We're going to pound the rock as we always do, and we do against some of these teams. Though we have scored on the later side of the games, haven't we? That 60, 70, 80 minute mark sometimes. So even away at their place, I said, didn't I? Actually, I'm going to put my hand up. It was at the time when I said Stansfield was scoring at the 83rd minute. And he scored in the 82nd or something. So that was a patient game as well. So, but they do have weaknesses like all teams do, Dad. They can become a little bit predictable when they go down the right or when they do try and go a bit more direct. Teams can read it. And we're quite good at that, I think, Dad. When teams go too direct, we just mop it up and go straight back on the attack, don't we? We saw it against Lincoln. They ran out of ideas. They hoofed it. We just absorbed it and went straight back on the attack, didn't we? So that can happen a lot. I've also got they run the risk of losing possession because when you do go more direct, you end up hitting a 50-50 battle, don't you? Pretty much. And then they can be exposed to counter-attacks. I think our goal against them was kind of a counter-attack. Mark Leonard's brilliant ball over, wasn't it?
Stano went through, didn't he, in the middle, and he just dinked it past the goalkeeper.
That was it, yeah. But, Dad, I have no doubt they'll come and be compact. This isn't going to be a straightforward game. It's going to be frustrating. I've just got a feeling. And, on to the Blues, I think.
Just a few players to look for Stevenage. We haven't mentioned them, have we? Their top scorer is attacking midfielder Dan Kemp. He's got 9 goals. Then their centre forward Jamie Reid has got 6. And then Jordan Roberts, left midfielder, has got 4. Elliot List has 4. I thought was pretty good again from memory against us. He's a right winger. And Louis Thomas, a central midfielder, with 2 assists. Jamie Reid 4, Dan Kemp 3, Eli King 3. As we said, there's not huge amounts of goals in this team because of obviously their second low scorers, but clearly they've got threats. Yes,
exactly that, Dad. And that brings us on nicely to the Blues. Should we go through the Blues lineup as we always do, what we think who's going to start where, and then what we might get out of the game?
Yeah, so Stevenage will set up as a 4-2-3-1. They have done like 27 times this season.
Certainly,
yes.
4-2-3-1.
So it's going to be a match for match formation. So so let's go for the Blues.
But again, Dad, it'll be a 4-5-1. We're out of possession for them. Yes. So their attacking midfielders will drop back naturally because we've seen it. What do you reckon? 99% of games at St.Andrews this season. They adapt when they're out of possession. I think that's the
beauty of playing a 4-2-3-1. It's adaptable.
Yes.
So you can tuck the 3 can tuck in with the 2, can't they, to give you 5.
That's how football's changed. With these formations, it makes you a little bit more being able to adapt on the fly, doesn't it? So, okay then, Dad. So last game, I think you did the defence.
Yeah, you did the defence.
So if he's fit, I hope he is because he played the 90 against Lincoln, Allsop in goal.
Yeah.
I've gone for Cochrane left back, poor guy, he must need a break soon. Davies on the left side centre back, Clara on the right side of centre back, and I haven't heard any updates on Ethan Laird, so if he's still out, I'm going to go for Bielek again at the right back, Dad.
I've gone for Bielek as well. Same for me. I've gone for Bielek starting at right back again. I think if Laird does come back, it'll be on the bench.
Fitness-wise, injury-wise.
But I don't even know he's ready to come onto the bench, to be honest. So I've gone for it's effectively the same back line as the Lincoln game.
Well, I will say that as it's popped up because we're doing the defence. Do you think, because I do here, I think we've really misled.
Oh, yeah,
That attacking pace up the front, that giving us another option.
I think with the Bolton game, it was glaring that we missed. Well, we had no pace on transition, did we? And that was the problem because we were missing Anderson as well. So we missed Anderson and Laird, and there was no pace. So when we did get the ball back, there was no pace on transition, and therefore I think it shows you how important both Keshi Anderson and Ethan Laird are. They're by far our best right-hand side.
I agree.
But I think what Laird has done now, Ethan Laird has done, is shown what an important player he is for the team. Yeah. And actually, you always know how important a player is because when he's missing, you realise what you're missing.
Exactly. No, couldn't agree more. And what I like about that, Dad, is just a lot of Blues fans were on the fence about Laird. Sort of start the season. I think everyone can agree at times his final delivery could improve, or it's a little bit frustrating. But overall, what he offers us in terms of speed and pace and being able to go at teams a little bit quicker down the right-hand side, I think he's cemented himself as a real solid first-teamer.
I think that's credit to Chris Davies. I think Chris Davies has coached him to be more aggressive, to be more higher up the pitch. Because when you look at his position, he doesn't look like a right-back.
He's a right winger.
He's always
a right forward.
We always see him. He's always in the opposition half, which is good because
he's running out the back line.
I know. So, and I think think he's enjoying it because it frees him up to be more aggressive. But I don't think he's quite ready. I don't know, but I mean, Chris Davis surprises us. I mean, everyone's surprised to see Allsop in goal against Lincoln, and surprised to see Keshi back as well.
Even Laird, when he was at United, Dad, as a youngster, he was renowned more for his attacking qualities than he was his defensive qualities. And actually, Laird's all right back. He can get stuck in. He does put some big challenges in. He revs up. He's got that energy, hasn't he? He's not a bad right back as well, the defensive side, but he's definitely.
I like him. I
I
think he's on a on a 1-to-1. So if he as a right back, when their team are attacking, Laird is great on a 1-to-1.
Right. Yeah.
And we've always said as well, for a smaller player, he's got to leap like a mountain goat.
Like a trampoline in his boots, hasn't he?
He wins a load.
That always makes me laugh. I love those videos on YouTube with those mountain goats. They're hilarious.
But it's like he wins so many headers, and you wouldn't think he would. So defensively he's good, but attacking is really good as well.
Yeah.
So that's the back line. We sort of agree that it'll probably be Biglek and then Clara Davis, Cochrane, and Allsop in goal. So in midfield, I've gone for a similar lineup to what we have seen against Lincoln. Hansen on the left, Paik and Iwata in the middle. I've gone for Taylor Gardner again on the right. That's assuming that Anderson won't be ready to start. I think maybe because I think he had a hamstring or a niggle, didn't he? Chris Davis might be, again, use him as a substitute to make sure you don't overdo it, because hamstrings can go quickly, can't they?
They can.
I think he'll start with Taylor Gardner. One thing I love about Taylor Gardner-Hickman, wherever you put him, he just gives you energy.
Yeah.
He gives you energy. Yeah, I mean, in some positions, he's not naturally in those positions, but he'll always give you all. So I think he'll start on the right. I've also gone as well for Dowling at number 10 and Stansfield up front.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, what screams more, Dad, about Taylor Gardner-Hickman than right back against Bolton, left wing the next game, or right wing? He's just going from defence to wing. He plays in the centre mid. I think the only position he hasn't played is up front and goalkeeper. He's just outstanding. He's so versatile. Love that guy. I've gone for Hansen on the left as well. I think he gives us that energy, Dad. I think when Keshi Henderson came on against Lincoln, we noticed the power of having good wingers.
Yeah.
He kind of, I wouldn't say changed the game, but his impact was massive, and definitely big factor for me. So people like Keshi Anderson, people like Hansen, I think they're valuable starting. So Hansen, Dowling the 10. I've actually gone for Keshi Anderson on the right. I don't know, call it a feeling. I've just got a feeling he might commit to him having a start. I don't know. Could be wrong on that.
Okay, so based upon that, before you go any further, so if you're saying then that you think that it could be Anderson on the right, do you think then that would mean Taylor Gardner-Hickman at right back instead of Bielek?
It could be, but I think he also might give Taylor Gardner-Hickman a bit of a rest because he's so energetic. I think he did look tired at the latter part of the Lincoln game, so he could just give him a bench. That doesn't mean Taylor Gardner-Hickman deserves to be on the bench. It's just let's just...
You got to pick 11.
Well, you got to pick 11, and it gives him a little bit of a rest.
Okay.
And also, Dad, I have gone for Iwata and Paik in the middle as well. But if Mark Leonard is looking like he's sharp as well, we could see Paik on the bench maybe just to rest legs. I don't know. But I have plumped for Iwata, Paik, Hansen, Dowell, Keshi Anderson, and agreed that's feeding into Stansfield.
Yeah, so the only difference then is I've gone for Anderson on the bench and you've Taylor him in the right side.
And that's an unknown around injuries and how fit they are. So
and on the bench, because we can only have 7 subs, I've gone for Bailey Peacock, Farrell, Hanley, Harris, Mark Leonard, Anderson. Obviously, you'll have Taylor Gardner-Hickman possibly, Yuki and May.
Exactly the same apart from that swap that we've had. So
it depends on whether he wants to rotate, but I think we're getting to the point now where we've got the Stevenage game, and we've just had the Lincoln game, Stevenage game Tuesday, Northampton on Saturday, then we haven't got a game in midweek for the first time in about 2 months.
I know.
So he might think about rotation, then he might think, well, actually, do I really need to rotate, or do I? Unless, because obviously he sees him in training every day, Chris Davies and his team. Unless he feels someone's looking a little bit tired or jaded, a bit leggy. I think that he'll probably go for the. I like I like what Chris Davies is doing. It's all right saying rotate for the sake of rotating, but I would always, if I was a manager, I'd always pick my strongest team if they were all energetic and fit. So I wouldn't just think, I think you need a break. If that player looked to me like they were fine, I'd just pick the strongest team every time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to an extent. I think you always should play your strongest players, but then there are certain cases when, like Charlton away, like Shrewsbury away, they just look shattered, didn't they?
That's different, Matt, because what I said was, if they look tired, you don't play them. That's what I'm saying. So this is, but only Chris Davis and his team, who see them every day and watch what they're doing, can make that assessment. And that actually is rotation that's needed when you see that. When you see a player that's struggling or tired or can only do 45 minutes, then you do rotate.
I have very little negative or improvement for Chris Davis. I think he's the best manager we've had in a generation. I think he's fantastic. But the one thing I would say is, I think we could have rotated rotated more times this season during certain parts. That is literally my only constructive criticism for Chris Davies.
He's learned his go along, but
of course
again, you know, I think he's had various things that happened over the season you know, we had the issue of like you know, Stansfield and May.
Yeah.
Can they play together? You know, he's had issues with other players as well about, you know, shall I drop this player? Shall I
Williamson
drop
on the right?
Yes,
all those sorts of things.
So I think so Chris Davies has been watching and learning as he go along. But
his first job as well.
He's not frightened to make a decision, and I think it's a bold move as well to drop Bielek as well, because Bielek was he's the club captain. He's been established in the team for quite a number of years, but actually it's the right decision because there are better players for those positions in better form.
Yeah, agreed.
So he's not frightened to make the decisions, whereas some managers, you know, for some teams will play certain players because of their reputation and because of who they are. Chris Davies is looking at who have I got available, what's the best team against this team, and he's picking them.
So, being on score prediction, Dad, I normally go first, but for this one, I'm going to pass the baton to you. What are your thoughts for the score prediction?
I'm going to go for another cagey victory, because I think that's not because of necessarily, you know, the Blues can't sort of get an absolutely brilliant result, but I think Stevenage, like we've said, will come and be very compact. But patient victory, another clean sheet, 2-0.
So you got the same as the Lincoln game.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to go the same as my Lincoln one, which I was right, by the way. We didn't say that on the pre-Lincoln.
No, we weren't going to either.
I'm going to go for Birmingham City 1-0.
1-0. Do you know what? It's all 3 points, isn't it? You know, it doesn't matter. I think we said, didn't we, at half time? I'd love to see us at some point just literally steamroller a team. But I think the way that teams come and set up against is so difficult. It's so hard, because particularly when they come to St.Andrews.
Steve, we're not going to steamroll Steve.
No.
But as in, this isn't the team to do that to, because they're so compact.
I completely agree.
At the back, this isn't going to be that game. So that's why I've gone for another 1-0, is because I know this is going to be. They're going to be difficult to break down.
No, I completely agree. It's not going to be this game, but I'd love to see us just have a bit of freedom to play.
Yeah.
You know, get a load of goals and actually really turn the team over properly.
But what I will say, Dad, one final point from me, and I did say this in the post-Lincoln game, final point is that we need to pick the pace up. We need to pass the ball quicker. We need to not get stuck in this horseshoe from side to side. When we go at teams and we're a bit more direct, as in passing through the middle, passing down wide, but doing it with pace, we look dangerous, and teams don't really know what to do with us. So with the home team, I want to see us do that, shift the ball quicker, and I've no doubt we will win this game. But respect to Stevenage. They're compact. They're a good team. This isn't going to be easy, and it's going to be not in a negative way. I think it's going to be a frustrating game at first.
I think so as well. And just on that final note from me, you know, we do get frustrated when the players are knocking the ball backwards and horseshoeing it around the back. But then, if we were to sort of sacrifice that and end up making more mistakes, because what the players are doing, they're looking for a pass so it's easy to play the ball forward, but you could lose the ball. So I think there is a method to what they're doing. It's frustrating to watch. And I think that we keep the ball and try and probe and find our way through in a safe way by doing what we're doing.
No, I totally get it.
But as a spectacle, as a football fan, you want to see us battering the ball forward and stuff like that.
Not even that, Dad, but against Lincoln, when we did just pass it quicker and did a little bit more movement, we caused them no end of bother.
Yeah.
That's when our chances came, when we went to Hansen on out wide quickly. And, you know, we spoke before that, didn't we, about breaking the press and then it coming back to Allsop.
Yeah.
That's the kind of things I'm talking about. Let's just be quicker with the passing, speed the tempo up, and I have no doubt we'll cause these a lot of problems. But I take your point, Dad, and I think Chris Davies sees it like that. He's kind of like probing for weaknesses, isn't he? And
I think you work on the principle as well. And we talked about possession, and we know that possession's only valid per stat if you score goals or you do something with it. But actually, if we've got possession, the team can't hurt us. If we've got the ball, they can't hurt us. Mm-hmm. So I think there is method in what they're doing. It's just, as a football fan, it's just realising that and actually realising it's part of us safely trying to sort of probe and find a way through without trying to make that 50-50 chance where they could win possession back. And you know, some teams have got fast on transition, but I think these will be as well. I think you know, they're a team that we have to watch. But overall, I think that you know, this is another game where we've got at home, we've got an unbeaten home record. And we just need to not be complacent, give them the respect they need, and then you know, if we play the way we can play, I think we'll definitely win this game.
Nothing further, that agreed.
So, what do you think, Birmingham City supporters? You know, it's another different type of opposition coming to St Andrews. The season is drawing to its conclusion. 12 games to go, and we're really at an important time now. But we'd love to know your thoughts on what you think the score will be. Maybe who you think the starting lineup will be. Please add a comment below and let us know your thoughts. If you're a Stevenage fan and you've come across this podcast maybe for the first time, we always welcome comments from the fans of opposition teams as as well. So please feel free to put your comments below the video as well. If you did like this podcast, as always, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcast on Spotify, you'll find us on there as well. And you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all of these right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you'd like to do that, there's no obligation to do so, but if you'd like to make sure that you continually watch our podcast, then hit that big red subscribe button. And if you want notifications, there's a little bell icon next to that button, next to the subscribe button, that will allow you to have a pop-up notification every time we put a podcast out. So that's it for this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.